Om Nasato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Abirabirmayedhi Rudrayatte Dakshinam Mukham Tena Mang Pahi Nityam Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. My dear audience, Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gold Park welcomes you all to the concluding session of the 2-day-long international seminar in commemoration of Ramakrishna Mission's 125th anniversary. Since yesterday, you already heard about 13 talks, and you must have noticed that all the talks are based on Swami Vivekananda's concept of divinity and practical Vedanta. In fact, that is the essence of Swami Vivekananda's ideal. As you all know, Swami Vivekananda wrote a letter to Sister Nivedita on 7th June in 1896. He wrote, "My ideal indeed can be put into a few words, that is to preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life." In fact, today's main speaker, Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj, and we have with us Srimat Swami Balabhadranandaji Maharaj, who will deliver the Valedictory Address. And Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj, as you know, he is in charge of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society, Boston, USA, and he was 18 long year editor of the Vedanta Kesari, a cultural and spiritual monthly of the Ramakrishna order. And a great speaker will be listening to him a short while from now, his topic being Swamiji's synthesis of the 4 yogas. And Srimat Swami Balabhadranandaji Maharaj, Assistant General Secretary of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, Belur, definitely does not need any introduction. And we have with us Swami Suparnanandaji, the Secretary of our Institute. May I now request Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj to talk on Swamiji's synthesis of the 4 yogas. And I think that this is, in a way, how to manifest the divinity within. Certainly, he will show us the way. Revered Maharajji, we are awaiting your talk.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. My pranams to Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj, and I'm very grateful to him for giving me this opportunity to be virtually present with all of you and share a few thoughts. My greetings to Swami Balabhadranandaji Maharaj, the other Swamis there, and everyone present in the hall. That's the glory of technology, that I'm so physically far away and yet still able to see you, at least on my screen in front. And I hope you're able to hear me. So greetings from across the globe. It's a very pleasant morning here in Boston. So to speak about Swamiji's synthesis of the 4 yogas, it will be helpful to begin with some of the background information which I think almost everyone here is aware of. First thing is about the 4 yogas. The formulation of our spiritual practices into 4 yogas has become so common, so popular, that many people think that this has been a very ancient formulation and it's always been a part of the tradition, which is not true. Yoga, yes, but the categorization of yoga into 4 specific groups was actually one of the great contributions of Swami Vivekananda. To Swamiji, the words Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, the words were not invented by Swamiji. Those terms existed before. But to encompass the entire yoga field into these four groups, that was something that nobody had done before, and Swamiji did that. So Swamiji's synthesis of yoga was preceded by a deep analysis of Swamiji did of the past field of yoga. One other thing that it might be good to keep in mind is that yoga is also one of the 6 darshanas, Shad darshanas, Sankhya Yoga, Nyaya Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. And so when we are speaking about synthesis of yoga, we are not really speaking about yoga as a darshana. Because yoga as a process, yoga as a form of spiritual discipline is actually a part of, in one way or another, every one of these darshanas. So when we speak about synthesis of yoga, it's not about the yoga philosophy, it's not about the yoga darshana, but it's about yoga as a spiritual discipline. And that's why it might be helpful to go to the original meaning of the term yoga. It can be traced to 2 distinct Sanskrit roots, one meaning of which is yoga as concentration. And in Patanjali's yoga, that's how he predominantly uses the term, as concentration. Yoga has another meaning, and that comes closer to the English word to yoke, to join. And in Vedanta, and in many other books, the Gita and the Upanishads absolutely, the word yoga is used more in sense of union or joining. And we could think of joining in terms of the jiva joining with the Paramatma, the creature with the creator, the finite with the infinite. There are many different ways we can see how the limited me, the bhakta, can get connected, can join with God or Bhagwan. One other challenging part of yoga, any discussion on yoga, is that yoga has now entered into mainstream English language. It's a Sanskrit term, but when words go across linguistic, cultural boundaries, they acquire different meanings. And so the word yoga now is being very widely used in English literature, not always in the sense we understand yoga within the tradition. And there are many other words as well, of course. There is the word guru, there is the word avatar. Well, a Hollywood movie came, and today when you say avatar, first thing people remember is that movie, and not how sacred that word is in our tradition. That's one of the challenges of the words going across different and becoming global. Nowadays, any city in the world we go, we'll find a yoga studio. But most people, when you say the word yoga, most people will imagine about this yoga asanas and the yoga postures and so on. And so one of the things that Swamiji did by his description and analysis of yoga was to bring back our attention to yoga as primarily a spiritual discipline. Now, when we begin to investigate, begin to look, begin to consider how the word yoga is used throughout our tradition, we see it's a very vast field. It's easier to imagine a tree with a main trunk, but branching out and lots of branches. Now, when we know that a field becomes very vast, to get a grip on it, to understand it becomes very difficult. And then we need to find a way to categorize it. It's a little bit like in a library. If all I have is only 10 books, then it's easy to find them. But if I have hundreds and thousands of books, like the really very beautiful library you have at Gold Park there. Those books need to be categorized. Those books need to be arranged in a certain order so that we can find exactly what we want and we know exactly what we have. Now, the field of yoga has become like that. It's so vast, so diverse, that we need a way of categorizing the yoga field. Now, one way of doing that is to just look at the textual sources, because we find references to yoga in the Ramayana, in the Mahabharata, and of course, especially in the Gita. We find it in the Puranas, in the Smritis, in the Vaishnava, Shakta, Shaiva texts. We also find it in Charak Samhita, we find it in Vishuddhi Magga of Buddha Ghosha in Buddhist tradition. Even in the Jain tradition, the Yoga Drishti Samuchaya of Haribhadra, I think it's probably 8th century. So we find the word yoga across these different religious texts. So one way of understanding yoga would be try to make a study of yoga in Ramayana, yoga in the Upanishads, yoga in Gita, and so on. Another way we can classify this vast yoga field is by looking at it through some of the major religious traditions. So we can speak about Patanjali Yoga, the tradition which predominantly follows Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Then there is, of course, Hatha Yoga, and oftentimes the asanas that are done are derived from, or at least get inspiration from, the principles in Hatha Yoga. Then there is, of course, the Vedanta Yoga, and that mostly in our Ramakrishna centers, when we speak about yoga, we usually study it from a Vedantic perspective. And then there is Tantric Yoga. So sometimes Hatha Yoga and Tantric Yoga are combined and they call it Kundalini Yoga. So you see, there are so many different ways of categorization. But looking upon the yoga field based on the different texts it is present in, or based on the different spiritual traditions it originates in, is not very helpful, because there are still a lot of overlapping ideas. One other shortcoming of that is that then yoga gets kind of narrowed down to only the tradition that originated in India. But if yoga is spiritual discipline, then people from other parts of the world, other religions also have spiritual disciplines. Is there a way to somehow incorporate all spiritual disciplines in any part of the world from any tradition into this big, huge yoga umbrella? Or that's something that only a prophet can do. And that's why it needed a genius of Swami Vivekananda to come and somehow bring together spiritual practices across religious traditions, not simply limited to Hinduism, but Christianity, Islam, Judaism. It's possible to bring, to see the presence of yoga. Whether or not that word yoga is used in other traditions, we can still bring them together under one umbrella. And that is what Swamiji did. He simplified the complex field of yoga into something easily graspable, easily understandable. And what now seems to be a very obvious thing was Swamiji saw that no matter which religious tradition we follow, no matter what our practices are, primarily what we are using is our body and mind. As human beings, that's all that we come with when we enter this world. So we are using the mind. So can we look into what faculties the mind has, or what powers the mind has, what functions the mind does? And it may be possible to see that there are three primary powers or functions of the mind, or the way the mind gets understood with these three primary functions. One is the cognitive function, the power of reasoning, the power of applying logic that we all have. The second function of the mind is, sometimes they call it the affective function, or when the mind uses its emotions and feelings. And a third function of the mind is cognitive, which is the power of the will. So essentially, we have the power of reasoning, the power of emotions, and the power of the will. No matter which religious practice we do, we are using one or the other of these powers. And what Swamiji said was, all spiritual practices which predominantly use the power of reasoning, the power of logic, can be called the path of knowledge, or Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yoga is not simply externally this practice or that practice. Anything, any practice which predominantly uses the power of reasoning can be called a part of Jnana Yoga. Similarly, any practice which predominantly uses the power of emotions and feelings can be called Bhakti Yoga. Any practice which predominantly uses the power of the will as it operates in the external world through the work that we do can be called a part of Karma Yoga. And any practice which predominantly uses the same willpower into the internal world to purify and to discipline the mind can be called Raja Yoga. Now, you might have noticed I'm using the word predominantly, and that is because we can never compartmentalize our minds into these categories. Mind is a one entity. Sometimes when we say that someone or that person is very emotional, we don't mean that that person has no intellect at all or no willpower at all. All that we mean is that certain way or certain factor predominates that person's personality. That's all. So even a person who is very emotional does have a power of reasoning. That person does have willpower. And that's why even when we say that Jnana Yoga is a path which uses the power of reasoning, we should not think that in Jnana Yoga there is no scope for emotions or no scope for willpower. That's not true. All of these yogas have the entire mind there, but one or the other of these powers may be predominant. And that's what Swamiji meant, that these yogas are not exclusive of each other. So this is what Swamiji said in his lecture on Karma Yoga. I'm quoting him now. The grandest idea in Vedanta is that we may reach the same goal by different paths. And these paths, Swamiji says, I have generalized into 4. Those are work, love, psychology, and knowledge. But you must at the same time remember that these divisions are not very marked and quite exclusive of each other. Each blends into the other. But according to the type which prevails, we name the divisions. It is not that you can find people who have no other faculty than that of work, nor you can find people who are no more than devoted worshippers only. Not that there are people who have no more than mere knowledge. These divisions are made in accordance with the type or the tendency that may be seen to prevail in a person. We have found that in the end, all these 4 paths converge and become one. All religions and all methods of work and worship lead us to one and the same goal. That's the last sentence especially. Try to focus on that. That yes, the yogas may be 4. We may have different spiritual disciplines, but ultimately everything will all go to that, lead us to that same one goal. And oftentimes, the examples often given is just like the rivers, something that Swamiji quoted in the Chicago Parliament of Religions. It's a verse that comes in the Shiva Mahimna Stotra, how rivers may start in different places, meander through different routes, but ultimately they will all go and meet the same ocean. In the same way, whatever spiritual practices we do, based on the tradition we come from, based on what our gurus have taught us, ultimately, the goal of all of that is one and the same. So what Swamiji did was this vast field of yoga and this diversity that is present in the field of yoga, Swamiji brought it down into these 4 categories. Now, that's a great advantage. We have a better understanding of what yoga is when we bring it down to a manageable groups. But the danger also is that people think that these yogas are like 4 different things, and then there's the question, which one should I choose? Which yoga should I practice? Sometimes people come and ask, which is the easy one? We all want easy stuff. And of course the answer is, there is no easy yoga and there is no difficult yoga. We know from our own experience, whatever we have interest in, whatever we love to do, whatever we have aptitude in, that thing appears easy. Someone who loves music and has interest in music, has some aptitude in music, will say, oh, music is the easiest thing. And there are others who is like, I have no idea, I don't understand music at all. So there is no such thing as easy or difficult. It can change from person to person. Some person might find Karma Yoga very easy. Someone else might say Bhakti Yoga is easy. So it's better not to make general comments like, oh, sometimes people think, oh, Bhakti, that's the easy thing. Jnana is very difficult. No. It's nobody can say what is easy or difficult. We just have to see where we are naturally attracted and try to follow that. So when Swamiji brought down this diverse field of yoga into 4 groups, how to then synthesize all of these into one unified practice? Now that's our responsibility. And that's what I meant by saying the danger was not to compartmentalize our spiritual life into these 4 different groups, because it feels like that, because we speak about the 4 yogas. And I've heard people say, oh, I do a little singing and do bhajan, and that's my bhakti yoga. And then I read a little bit of Upanishads and think, that's my dhyana yoga. I go and do some social service, that's my karma yoga. And then I meditate, and then that's my Raj Yoga. Bad idea. That I don't think that's helpful, because spiritual life ideally is an undivided life. We can't divide our life into these 4 groups this way. And so it's not helpful to identify the yogas by certain practices that we do, because the practice itself doesn't tell us anything about which yoga is being practiced. Because think about, for instance, doing service or social work, what we say. If I go and help someone, is that Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga? The immediate response will be doing service is Karma Yoga, because you're serving someone. Not necessarily, because what is the attitude of mind I have when I go and serve someone? Now, it's possible for me to go and offer service and look upon it as a way to develop my power of the will, as willpower. What Swamiji described as work for work's sake. That I do something good without any expectation, but doing something good because it is good. Doing something right because it is right. That way of doing would be, you could say, a very karma yoga type of practice, with no other interest, no self-interest involved, doing right because it is right. And that needs willpower, tremendous willpower. So that would be a karma yoga way of doing service. But then someone else might say that I try to see the presence of God in all. And if God, to a physician or a doctor, if God comes to me in the form of a patient, then treating that patient, recognizing the presence of God there, that would be God's worship. When Thakur said, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva, so when I see the presence of God and serve others, looking upon it as worship, then that feels more like Bhakti Yoga to me. So same service can be done as a Karma Yoga, can be done as Bhakti Yoga. Or I can look upon the act of service as just a play of different gunas. In the Bhagavad Gita we read, Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. That which means that we see that every external activity is only a play of gunas. That me, the gunas in my body and mind, are being employed in serving someone else whose also body and mind is made of the different gunas. And the activity also is filled with the guna, because the entire Prakriti, the entire material world is just the play of gunas. So if I do service, keeping that in mind, that feels more like Jnana Yoga to me. And therefore, we cannot think of yoga in terms of specific practices. So singing doesn't automatically mean Bhakti Yoga. Service doesn't automatically mean Karma Yoga. What we need to do is, which aspect of the mind is being used in that specific practice. One other thing about yoga, about synthesizing yoga, is the advantage of combining the different practices. Because it's possible that when we try to do any of the practices that we do, we may not be doing them as perfectly as we need to. In the beginning, we are all doing things imperfectly. With practice, perfection will come. Now, let's say if I just hold on to Jnana Yoga and do it in a haphazard sort of way, not in a very perfect way, then there is a real danger that my practice of Jnana Yoga may get reduced to simply some dry intellectualization. Or if I practice Bhakti Yoga and not do it very perfectly, not do it very carefully, kind of do it haphazardly, then my Bhakti Yoga might be reduced to some just sentimentalism, just being hyper-emotional. Now, we don't want that to happen. So sometimes combining these different practices, allowing the different facets of our mind to manifest, will help balance these yogas. And that's what Swamiji said. This is what Swamiji said in his talks, in Inspired Talks, the retreat he gave at Thousand Island Park in upstate New York in 1895. Swamiji says, intellectual, mystical, devotional, practical. Make one the basis, but teach the others with it. Intellect must be balanced with love, the mystical nature with reason, while practice must form part of every method. Take everyone where they stand and push them forward. Religious teaching must always be constructive, not destructive. And therefore it makes sense, no matter which is the predominant characteristics within us. Some of us might be very analytical, maybe very applying the power of reason everywhere, which is good. But make effort also to develop the emotional side. Make effort also to apply willpower. So if we can form a spiritual practice, find ways that all these different parts of the mind get a chance to manifest, to grow, to evolve, to flourish, and then our practice will become more wholesome. So a spiritual practice is like a healthy meal. We know that a healthy meal should have all the ingredients we require. Just like we need starch, carbohydrates, we need proteins, we need vitamins, we need so many different things, minerals. So a healthy meal will make us strong. So similarly, a healthy spiritual practice will give equal opportunity for the entire mind to flourish. And that's what we can try to do. One other helpful tip that Swamiji gave was how to develop harmoniously in our spiritual practice. And Swamiji says, again, in his inspired talks, Swamiji says, develop every faculty as if it were the only one possessed. This is the true secret of so-called harmonious development. We see the Thakur, Mother and Swamiji, such harmonious development. In every aspect they showed the ideal that can be reached. And if we can do that, and one way, as Swamiji said, is when I'm doing something, I should believe that that itself will give me the highest truth. For instance now, if I'm doing japa, if I'm doing meditation, at that moment, I should not be thinking of something else. That, oh, I have to finish that, I have to finish that. No. It had blanked out. Similarly, when Swamiji speaks about Bhakti Yoga, about Jnana Yoga, then he speaks Jnana itself is the supreme thing and everything else is inferior to that. And can be very confusing because you read Jnana Yoga and think, this is what I need to do. And you read Karma Yoga and think, this is what I need to do. And we don't have to be worried if we get confused by that, because sometimes some of the other direct disciples also got confused by that. We see that, I think it was, I forget now who, one of the direct disciples once said to some other disciple that, I have no idea what Naren says. Sometimes when he's speaking of bhakti, I think bhakti is the highest. Then he starts speaking about jnana, I think jnana is the highest. It's little confusing. And then I think it was Swami Yoganandaji who then told him, Baba, you just hold on to mother and she will make everything all right. So if we are sometimes confused about what yoga to follow, don't worry. Many people have gotten confused. Even great ones have got confused. All that we need to do is to look in our heart, find what is it that where we are naturally attracted, which speaks, which resonates with our head and heart, and try to follow it. And for most of us, it means just following what our gurus have taught us. Reading Thakur Swamiji with great attention, great love, great faith, and then trying our best to do whatever they asked us to do. What we know that we will learn more and more, not simply through reading books, but through actual practice. Because that is what Swamiji said. An ounce of practice is worth tons of theory. So we have to keep on practicing through error, through experimentation, through prayerful seeking, through meditation. And this process will continue and it will end when we realize God. And that is the goal that Sri Ramakrishna has put before us. One way or the other, somehow doing things as perfectly as we can, facing the different challenges we have in life, we have to muddle our way through this life because everything is uncertain. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. The last 4 or 5 years, the pandemic, who thought that's going to happen? And we did. We went through all of that. We need to have faith and continue, and everything that is needed for synthesis to occur in our own lives will happen through the grace of Thakur, Mother and Swamiji. So my prayer that through their infinite grace, may our lives be blessed and may all the synthesis that is needed for our growth occur through their infinite grace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
No doubt it was a spiritually so elevating a talk we have just heard. Our grateful pranams to Srimat Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj. And after listening to Swamiji, some of the young students, they must be pretty proud of their forefathers who have made Indian spirituality so democratic and so secular, even as we have with us the power of reasoning, the power of will, and the power of emotion. And India offers a vast field of spiritual disciplines. Whatever suits you, you accept, even as being tolerant to any others following any particular spiritual practice. We are really so very much fortunate to have heard Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj. And what we are most waiting for is Valedictory Address by Srimat Swami Balabhadranandaji Maharaj. Whenever he speaks, we know that we are going to get something pretty new and for something to introspect, to think for a pretty long time. But I would like to request Maharajji to speak in Bengali because we have been listening to English since yesterday. Will you please speak in Bengali, or would you prefer English? Oh, that's okay. Okay. It's left to Maharajji, and probably Secretary Maharaj wants him to speak in English.
My pronouns to Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj, Secretary of this Institute. My regards to all the monks and honorable speakers who spoke in the previous sessions. Regards and love very much to Swami Tyaganandaji Maharaj, who just now gave a very beautiful deliberations on the synthesis of 4 yogas. My respectful namaskars, regards, love and best wishes to all in the audience. Swami Hari Brahmanandaji especially, other monks, students, and other distinguished members. While inviting me formally through a letter, Swami Suparnanandaji wrote that the seminar is going to focus on one or more of the subjects like potential divinity of man, harmony among world religions, synthesis of 4 yogas, service as a synthesis between spirituality and the modern way of life, and few other topics. From the printed program of the seminar, I find that a few more subjects have been discussed in various sessions like practical Vedanta, universal values, spiritualizing everyday life, etc. I am drawn to the subject of divinity, potential divinity of man, which plays a pivotal role in whatever Swamiji has said or written. So, I cannot but start my speech by repeating what our compeer Shakti Prasad Mishra said, that famous letter of Swami Vivekananda, addressed to Sister Nivedita. It is said in our Sanskrit Subhashitas that repetition may be bad, but repetition is very much welcome when it deals with such serious and noble objects, noble things. Abritti sarva shastranam bodha devo goryeshi. So, without any hesitation, I reiterate that famous portion of that very famous letter, which has been mentioned by Shakti Prasad Misra in the very beginning. Swamiji wrote, "My ideal indeed can be put into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life." Elsewhere, Swamiji said, each soul is potentially divine, and the goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. To note here that all of us are potentially divine. Nobody is deprived of his or her potential divine status even for a single moment. But most of us are not expressly divine at the present moment. And religion or religious practices mean to make conscious efforts to manifest the divinity so that it is palpably present in our personalities. And it is also true that I alone am not divine. Everybody is divine. Even subhuman beings are also divine. But they are not given that body, mind, intellect or brain by which they can work out this awakening of divinity. They are physically incapacitous to manifest their inherent divinity. That is why it is said that human birth is most coveted, because we can awaken our sleeping divinity in full if only we so wish and try. So I am divine, everybody is divine, and in that divine identity of mine, I am one with the entire human being, entire human society. Now you can argue as a Purva Pakshi, as a counter-argument, you can say that this oneness can be explained in terms of material identity also. We are all electrons, protons and neutrons only, and in that sense also we are one. But we are not talking of that identity. We are looking for our moral, mental and spiritual elevation by using this identity and oneness. This material identity and oneness based on material identity cannot provide any elevation anyway. But even a theoretical belief in our divine identity fills us with purity, strength and love. How? All impurities lie in my body, mind and intellect only. But I am not body, mind and intellect. I am divine. I am the soul. So, I am pure, absolutely pure. My true nature is purity only. You see, Swami Vivekananda, in his paper on Hinduism on 19 September 1893, that is the first written paper, first writing of Swamiji, apart from the letters he had written for the humankind. They are replaced before American audience, before the entire world through the American audience, the gospel of divinity, gospel of purity. And the reaction was remarkable. They have never heard. One, you will find it in Mary Louise Burke's book, that one Mr. Hawkins, not Stephen Hawking surely, but he later became a famous economist. He is describing this sensation. Swamiji's that utterance created. Sinner, it is a sin to call a man so. that is a standing libel on human nature. Later, not in the Parliament of Religions, Swamiji challenged this theory of original sin by placing the theory of original purity. The same religion, Swamiji said, which preaches original sin, the same religion preaches original purity also. When Adam fell, he fell from purity. So, purity is our real nature. That is our original state of being. So, divinity, from this divine identity, the first thing that comes to us is this purity. I am not body, mind, intellect, or the fragmented I which is called Ahankar. That is why I am full of strength. I am one with all. My soul is everybody's soul. So everybody's joy and sorrow are my joy and sorrow. So I am full of love and empathy. So this oneness on the basis of our divine identity provides us with purity, strength, and love. This divine oneness is the central theme of Vivekananda's message, which is the central truth of Hinduism or Vedanta also. And Swamiji says, this divine oneness can be traced in other religions as well, in some form or other. When a religion talks of brotherhood of their adherents, they mean this divine oneness only. Only they apply this oneness in a limited sense to their community only. Swamiji says the whole world of religions is only a traveling of different men and women through various conditions and circumstances to the same goal. Every religion is only evolving a God out of the material man, and the same God is the inspirer of all of them. We have an erroneous view of our life, that life is human experience only. But actually, life is a divine experience with occasional human experiences. We know ourselves as human beings. That is why we perceive others also as human beings. But if we know ourselves even theoretically as divine beings, gradually that divine view of life will settle in us. It is possible by proper education from childhood, just as Queen Mother Asha used to do to her children. Through lullaby, she used to teach her children that they are pure self and not body, mind, or intellect. As a result, we know 3 of her 4 children, when grew up, embraced the life of renunciation, and the 4th child, at the request of her husband, he taught and trained otherwise, but she also later took to sannyasa. Swamiji says divinity should be awakened in every movement of life. Every thought, every action therefore matters. Every good thought or good action awakens the divinity within us a little more. And every bad thought or bad action sends that divinity to more sleep. So every thought and every deed matters. Nothing is secular in this sense. Every thought and every deed is spiritual because it influences the awakening of our inner divinity directly or inversely. Knowing this fact, we have to be watchful regarding our every thought and deed and monitor them consciously so that they may be good only and our potential divinity keep manifesting steadily forward and never takes a backward turn. Now the quotation of Swamiji that we have excerpted a little before goes in full as this. How to manifest the divinity within. To this Swamiji says, either by work or worship or psychic control or by knowledge. By one or more or all of this and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines and dogmas or temples or rituals or forms are but secondary details. That means by following any one of our four yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga or Jnana Yoga, or by combining one or two or all of the four yogas, we can attain this spiritual goal. We have just now heard on these four yogas how to synthesize. Swamiji has prescribed, Swamiji and other direct disciples have prescribed for the monks of our order combination of four yogas with emphasis on japa and meditation, as well as service and work in the spirit of puja as the means to awaken this inherent divinity. For long, maybe probably from the days when of the next generation of our stalwart monks, who had the opportunity to be groomed sitting at the feet of great direct disciples. Another yoga, the name of another yoga is very much used, that is not anywhere found in our order, that is Seva Yoga. Our great monks have used this term again and again. Gambhiranandaji, Premeshanandaji, other monks. Who has invented, who has started to use this or say this, we do not know. But this is used in the sense that this Seva Yoga is a unique yoga which has come from Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda did not name this yoga, but it has come directly from the ideals of, monastic ideals that Swamiji had set for our order. This has come directly from that. This Seva Yoga is such that automatically it combines in yourself, without your conscious knowing, all the four yogas. So this is very important. Japa and meditation, as well as service, these are emphasized in our order. That is why Swami Brahmanandaji, Raja Maharaj, who used to often say that we have cast the mold, we have set the mold. Only you lay your life into this mold. Only you follow this mold. He used to say to brahmacharis, just as a formula, meditate, 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 and serve his creatures. This service that contains, if you can do service in the right spirit, in the spirit that Sri Ramakrishna, Sharoda Devi and Swami Vivekananda wanted, then all the four yogas are automatically synthesized. That is our belief in our order. This part I'll finish by quoting that famous saying of Swami Vivekananda. This was very much favorite of Swami Ranganathanandaji. Swamiji says, teach yourself, teach everyone his real nature. That means this divine nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Yes, you'll see the changes are occurring in yourself. Sri Ramakrishna says that yogi, he sometimes marvels at himself. He says, Eki, Eki. When Kulakundalini awakens in him, he sometimes marvels at him. What is happening to me? Such great things are coming. So here also Swamiji says, call upon this sleeping divinity. Consciously call it and see how it awakens. We'll see if we do what Swamiji says, we'll see that the great noble qualities which we were so long used to see only in the lives of great saints and seers coming within me. So Swamiji says that call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, glory will come, purity will come, and everything that is noble and excellent will come. when the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. Consciously you have to awaken that. Unconsciously, sometimes it awakens. Suppose I feel a surge of love for my near ones and dear ones. So it comes automatically, but consciously, the same love, same feeling, same empathy, I have to arouse within myself for everybody. That is the conscious activity, conscious efforts to awaken. That is one of the conscious activities, to awaken my sleeping soul. Now I'll discuss Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji's view of religious harmony, and especially Swamiji's idea of a universal religion. Religions differ in secondary details, which Swamiji said in that famous quotation. Doctrines and dogmas, all these things are secondary details. Religions differ in secondary details only. Every religion is a big structure which contains both essentials and non-essentials. Religions differ in non-essentials. Essentials are the same. Maybe they are couched in different expressions in different religion. Even with this difference, differing religious paths are holy. This is Swamiji's idea. When we say that all religions are valid paths to truth, we don't say that paths will be equal. There will be difference. Paths will remain different. We believe in transmigration of soul. We believe in rebirth of soul. We believe in karma and karma fall. Others do not believe. This difference will be there. But still, different paths will remain different. Religious paths will remain different. But still, they are holy. They are pure. In that, they are all paths leading to the same goal, which is God, which is holy, which is truth, the absolute. So, in spite of these differences, differing religious paths should be treated with respect. Also, how we have to deal with other religions. These are the ways to deal with other religions. Also, the spiritual qualities that the sincere sadhakas in every religion tries to cultivate, and which are naturally found among the realized souls or advanced souls in different religions, are also the same or similar. Every sincere valid paths which the spiritual aspirants of various religions follow, if the aspirants are sincere, they try to cultivate some good qualities. As they progress, that good qualities start to be part of their nature. And when they reach the goal, that becomes part and parcel of their nature. So we find that these qualities are same or similar in every valid religion. Swamiji said, honesty, purity, love and compassion. Swamiji said at the Chicago Parliament of Religions, holiness, purity and charity are not the exclusive property of any religion, and each religion has produced men and women of most exalted qualities. Many think that there should be only one religion. Then there will be no conflict, no fighting. Swamiji says no. Different religions are there to suit varied spiritual capabilities and varied spiritual temperaments of people. That the religions are many is both needed and natural. He says, I would have been happier if there were a separate religion for every human being. But goal is always the same. The same God is the inspirer of all religions. From the same God or truth stem all religions, and to the same God or truth they go. As an example, we can say, Shakta Sadhaka and Vaishnava Sadhaka will always remain different. But both are holy, both paths are holy, both are true, because through both the ultimate Brahman could be realized. Therefore, whoever follows religion or discusses religion should hold this as an axiom, that different religious paths are all true, as they all lead to the same truth, which is God. Now, Swamiji's idea of a universal religion. Swamiji says, universal religion is already there. You need not create it again. Only you have to be imbued with the ideas of religious harmony to discover it. Swamiji's exact words regarding this, I like to quote. Yes, it is from Swamiji's lecture, The Realization, Universal Religion and its Realization. It is in this second volume of Swamiji's complete works. Swamiji says, universal religion is already there. You need not create it. You have to only discover it, recognize it. This is not Swamiji's words. This is my words. Swamiji's exact words I am quoting. Universal religion about which philosophers and others have dreamed in every country already exists. It is here. As the universal brotherhood of man is already existing, so also is universal religion. Which of you that have traveled far and wide have not found brothers and sisters in every nation? I have found them all over the world. Brotherhood already exists. Only there are numbers of persons who fail to see this and only get upset. And only upset it by crying for new brotherhoods. Universal religion too is already existing. If the priests and other people that have taken upon themselves the task of preaching different religions simply cease preaching for a few moments, we shall see it is there. By universal religion, it is not meant that a single religion will be universally accepted by all. That has never happened and never will happen. Though it is true that efforts in this line are not totally absent in some religions. Vivekananda's argument against this is this: all the major religions of the world are quite old. They are all surviving since long and even flourishing, despite sometimes a few other religions have tried to make them extinct. Nature does not allow anyone to survive unless they have any worth. That all the major religions are there for centuries is the proof that they are all worthful. There are some people in this world, there must be some people in this world whose spiritual need and taste cannot be satisfied without Islam. That is why Islam is there in this world. There must be many people in this world whose spiritual hunger and temperament cannot be satiated without Christianity or without Hinduism. That is why these religions are still there. So, by universal religion means an attitudinal change only that should come upon each religion, when followers of each religion will sincerely believe that other religions are also equally true. And also to know that all religions stem from the same source. Swamiji wrote to Muhammad Sarfraz Hossain, mankind ought to be taught that religions of the world are but varied expressions of the religion. He writes the religions in all caps, which is oneness, O also cap. Mankind ought to be taught that religions of the world are but varied expressions of the religion which is oneness. We want to lead mankind to a state where there is neither the Vedas, nor Quran, nor the Bible. But through the Vedas, Bible and Quran only we are to reach there. Vivekananda in this regard gave Hinduism, yes, he accepts Hinduism as a universal religion, but in this regard he gave Hinduism only this much credit, that it has reached this realization of universal religion first among all religions. That is the only credit he gives. Just as Tenzing Norgay, he climbed the Mount Everest for the first time, then others also followed. But he categorically said, if one religion is universal religion, every religion can be universal religion. Each religion has the potentiality to be a universal religion. Swamiji, in his speeches at Chicago Parliament of Religions, talked of three things: toleration, acceptance, and assimilation. Toleration is surely much better than intolerance, but that is not the best thing, because it smacks of veiled sense of superiority. I know you are inferior to me, but I am generous. That is why I bear with you. The better sentiment is acceptance. I respect your religion and accept you with open heart. Not only that, if I find anything good in your religion which is not in my religion, I am ready to assimilate that into my own religion, of course, without forsaking my own religion, without any qualms that I am belittling or betraying my own religion. In the final address at the Chicago Parliament of Religions, he said this: the Christian is not to become a Hindu or a Buddhist, nor a Hindu or a Buddhist to become a Christian, but each must assimilate the spirit of the others and yet preserve his individuality and grow according to his own law of growth. So, toleration, that is the lowest thing. Swamiji stressed not only on acceptance, but also on assimilation. When he was speaking after the parliament in cities around Chicago in 1897 itself, in one place he said it more clearly, about this assimilation. Christians will do well if they learn from other religions also. Each religion does not contain the whole truth about God. Regarding this equal validity of religions, this is a very, novel idea of Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji says, he said that religions differ only in non-essentials. Religions differ only in the secondary details. But he also said in a lecture, one of the lectures on universal religion, that leave aside these books and forms and all the externals. Yes, they are different in different religions. But in the core also, all religions are not equal. But all religions are true. Because, as Sri Ramakrishna says, God is infinite. You cannot fathom it, you cannot limit it. So God is infinite. How much old or how much vast a religion can be, you cannot say with all certitude that it reflects the glory or magnanimity of God or the ultimate truth in entirety. So in that sense, each religion is imperfect. So each religion is a revelation of certain part of God, which is the ultimate truth. They are true. Each religion, even the imperfect, they are imperfect but true, because they deals with the truth, the only truth, which is God. The example Swamiji gives is the photographs of the sun from various distance. From various heights you are taking snaps of the sun. All the photographs are true, but all the photographs are different. All the photographs are two photographs of the same sun, but none of the photographs are the whole representation of the sun. So, religions differ also in its core. So what is there? That is why assimilation also is needed. Acceptance is needed, because your religion is also an expression of truth, which is God. Because of that, acceptance is needed. And assimilation is needed because I can enrich myself, I can fulfill myself. The truth you have about God and the truth I have in my religion about God, we can exchange, we can enrich each other. So, in that lecture, after the Parliament of Religions, this entire lecture is not that, it was reproduced. Some portion of the lecture was reproduced in newspaper. There Swamiji says, Christians will do well if they learn from other religions also. Each religion does not contain the whole truth about God. Is it not therefore good to enrich ourselves with the wealth of other religions? The Hindus accept from others. They hate none or nothing except intolerance. Each religion, however great or vast or old it may be, are only partial representation of God or truth who is infinite, about whom Srimat Krishna was never tired to say, you cannot fathom him, you cannot limit him. Swamiji says, it is good to be born in a church, but bad to die there. It is good and natural you are born in a religion that is required for your spiritual depth and sincerity. But as you mature in spiritual life, you should move towards the open ground of universal religion, but without compromising your own religion. So according to this ideal, every religious person have two religious identities. I am a Hindu, I am also a follower of universal religion. I am a Christian and I am also a follower of universal religion. Swamiji said, universal religion is already there, as we have already mentioned. Other religions have to accept this idea of universality from Hinduism, because Hinduism is the first one to reach this stage of universality. And then with other religions, they have to apply, they have to use that assimilation. They should assimilate this idea of universality from Hinduism into them, and then with open heart discover this universality in their respective religions as well. I was along here with Lokesh Ranji. Sometimes we had informal talk with him, and he used to deal with this. This idea was very favorite for him, this universality of religion. So he used to say, the time will come when, following Swamiji, Thakur and Ma, a time will come when the father will be a Muslim, mother will be a Christian, and the children will be Hindus. That will be possible. Actually, we take initiation, maybe whole family has taken initiation from the President Maharaj of this order. But actually, each one of us have different religion. Our religious paths, though Thakur is our Ishto, though Ramakrishna mission is our all, still, the way I look upon Thakur, the way I look upon Ramakrishna mission ideals are not same for all the members of the family. So actually we are practicing different religions. Though we have taken initiation, we are Hindus and we have taken initiation from the same Guru, from the same order. So if it is possible, then it is also possible. What Sri Ramakrishna did, that is possible for others also. So, will it ever happen? We can say that it has already happened. How? Swamiji had some key ideas. One such key idea. Swamiji, whole message of Swamiji, whatever Swamiji has said, whatever is contained in the 10 volume of complete works, we can reduce them if we try to maybe 10 or 15, even less key ideas. The one of Swamiji's key ideas are these, that society is but conglomeration of, aggregate of individuals. That is why Swamiji said, so you focus on individuals. Swamiji said, I do not talk of any ism. My ism, not Swamiji said, it was taken by Subhash Chandra Bose. He used to say this, like Swamiji, my ism is man-making. I do not care for any other ism. Swamiji also, individual, he focused on individual, because if individuals are built, Then society, human society is aggregate of individuals, so human society also will be formed accordingly. So these are happening at individual levels already. So when in 1896 itself, Swamiji has left USA for the first time. He has left, he was on the way to India through England. Even before Swamiji had reached India, a news came out in Indian Mirror perhaps, that is reproduced from New York paper. At that time it was going on like this. News about Swamiji, news about Parliament is coming first in American newspapers, then it was reproduced in Indian newspapers as well, especially in Indian Mirror. So one news was there, a group of followers of Swamiji's, admirers and followers of Swamiji, they are practicing Vedanta. And newsmen came to know about that. They interviewed them. What are you doing? We are practicing Vedanta. They are saying, we have now come to know that there had been many cries, all representatives of the religion of Vedanta. They are saying this. What a change Swamiji has created in 3 years itself. Then they were asked, don't you think that by doing this you are betraying the Prophet of Nazareth and you are going away from your religion, Christianity? No, not at all. They are replying. We are understanding our religion better and we think we can respect the Prophet of Nazareth even more than before. So this is a change. This change has already taken place among Nivedita. He was a devout Christian since her childhood. Our parents, our father was a Christian father, preacher. So she never thought that she has discarded Christianity. She became a Hindu also. So this is taking place among the monks of the Ramakrishna mode, non-Hindu monks of the Ramakrishna mode, and among the devotees also. So it has already happened. It has already happened. The life with religious harmony, the life with universal religion has already set in this world. We only need to spread the education, spread the awareness, which has made it possible in the limited scope, limited region of Ramakrishna order to every corner of the human society. Swamiji once wrote to Mary Hell, date is 1st February 1895, he wrote to Mary Hell, you are mistaken, utterly mistaken if you think I have a work. I have a message and I will give it after my fashion. I will neither Hinduize my message, nor Christianize, nor make it anywise in the world. I will only my-wise it, and that is all. Liberty, mukti, freedom, that is all my religion. So I will present before you one such, you can say, Vivekananda's message, which bears the unique stamp of this rarest world teachers that Vivekananda was. And with that I will conclude. I shall go to the mosque of the Mohammedan. I shall enter the Christian church and kneel before the crucifix. I shall enter the Buddhistic temple where I shall take refuge in Buddha and in his law. I shall go into the forest and sit down in meditation with the Hindu. Not only shall I do all this, but I shall keep my heart open for all that may come in the future. Is God's book finished, or is it still a continuous revelation going on? The Bible, the Vedas, the Quran, and all other sacred books are but so many pages, and an infinite number of pages remain yet to be unfolded. I would leave it open for all of them. We stand in the present, but open ourselves to the infinite future. We take in all that has been in the past, enjoy the light of the present, and open every window of the heart for all that will come in the future. Salutations to all the prophets of the past, to all the great ones of the present, and to all that are to come in the future. Thank you.
There is absolutely no doubt it's a blissful experience listening to revered Maharaj. The first part of his talk centers around Swami Vivekananda's concept of divinity, which he says is but a reiteration of what stands Hinduism, the main pillar of Hinduism, Ishabhasyam, Idam Sarvam, Yat Kincha, Jagatyang Jagat. All that we see, all that I feel, everything is divine. Know this divine world, enjoy this world, but before you know this, you know the technique of enjoyment. And then he makes a sort of personal appeal to the audience that we must try to remain alive to our potential divine status. We must remain alive to our potential divine status. And if we do so, 99% of the evils that we see around will definitely vanish. And while he was telling about how to manifest our potential divinity, he referred to Ramakrishna Mission's unique contribution to world thought and culture, that is Seva Yoga, which synthesizes all four yogas. And towards the end he says, what should be our outlook to other religions? While doing so, he refers to what Swami Vivekananda meant by universal religion, and it's a great joy, and we are really so fortunate to be born as a Hindu, because a Hindu loves his religion and also does not have any negative attitude to any other religion in the world, which should be followed by one and all. And then this beautiful planet of ours must be a much better place to live in. Thank you. May I now request Srimat Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj to propose vote of thanks, and that will mark the end of our today seminar.
Yes, Shakti. Let us hope that all of us should be so universal in our attitude towards our own religion. We have to be really universal. And Swamiji's life is a great book. So we have been listening to so many speakers, and we never felt bored. Every speaker spoke something new and discovered some new truths from the very oft-quoted lines from Swamiji's book. So I request all of you to read Swamiji's book in original and see what treasure awaits you. I thank everybody present in the audience. I have to propose a vote of thanks to the speakers. I do so by first naming Swami Suparnandaji, the revered General Secretary Maharaj, who gave presidential address yesterday. Swami Atmapriyanandaji, I thank him very much for his deliberation on resonance between ancient Vedantic and modern scientific principles in the light of Swami Vivekananda's teachings. He shed a really considerable light on this particular topic. We all enjoyed. Unfortunately, this morning I could not be present over here, but I have heard a lot about the speakers. I had to collect information from some of my friends present. Al-Hajj Mufti Abdullah Al-Masud, he spoke on a religion of my dream that upholds universal values. So needless to say, we selected the topic. Father Mario Martin Luis from St. Xavier's University, he spoke on religion and universal values. Swami Haribrahmendraనంద Tirthaji from Uttarkashi, he spoke on basic tenets of Hinduism and universal values. I had a talk yesterday morning with him. He's a very nice man, very universal in outlook. Since he is also a Vedantin, and I discovered that he learnt a lot from Swamiji's writings also, Swamiji's books. He reads, though he belongs to Adi Shankaracharya Brahma Vidya Peetham, but he does not avoid reading Swamiji. And he has been listening with rapt attention the speeches, and I saw him also chairing a session, and his comments encouraged me also. I thank him. I express my gratitude to him for taking trouble to come over. From Uttarkashi to this place, Dr. Srimati Mukherjee from Presidency University spoke on practical Vedanta through the lens of poetry, a rich dialogue. I know her mind very much. She likes to treat everything in the form of poetry, and she makes even the simple fact very pedantic, very complicated. And she told me, really she told me, that some of my audiences had cheered me very much. And I thank her for accepting our invitation. Because she has been known to me for several decades. She had her education in US. He served there and then came over to India with her two sons. She reared them, she brought them up, sent them to US again, but she remains over here, teaching at the Presidency University, English. Dr. Indrajit Rai, our student at Narendrapur, he is now serving professor. He is now a professor of economics, Cardiff Business School, UK. A few weeks ago, he came and talked to us. He is an original thinker, I saw. He has changed a lot. I thank him very much for his speech on practical Vedanta, how we perceive subjective probability. He's a man of statistics. That's why he has brought in his discussion probability, a very confusing idea in statistics. Everything is probable, how we perceive subjective probability. Subjective probability means mind, you see. Our subject, we the subject, their mind plays a vital role. And mind is not stable. Mind is not stable. It behaves erratically. all probabilistic ideas that we see in outside have their origin in our own mind. So I do not know. I am yet to see. I will have to go through. Huh? No, I have not. That's why I have to listen to that speech recorded there. And Swamiji, Practical Vedanta, the need of the hour. I am yet to listen to his speech, but I know him very well. He can make a simple thing a more precious, simple, the copper. He can make a beautiful, bright gold, I should say. As a speaker, I have every respect for his genius. I extend my love and best wishes to him. Somnath Bhattacharya, Professor, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Jadavpur University, spoke on the real and the apparent man. The real man, we all know. The real man is one with divinity, and the apparent man is the man that we see with body, mind and intellect complex. So real man is hidden and apparent man is dancing upon that hidden man. And we feel that we are the doers, but actual doer is that real in us. Om Prakash Bharmaji, I listened to him, spiritualizing everyday life. Swami Balabhadranandaji, as usual. He was applauded very much, that's why I say he's a good speaker and he spoke very well. The majority of his audience comprised students of a school from Patho Bhavan. Some of them met me and I sent one of them to seek practical advice from him, and he has given a very nice advice. Can I speak out that? No. But it is very important, very important. We say, I am a spirit. If I feel that I am a spirit, I can be a better student. How? His answer was quite unusual. Quite unusual. Yes, should I not speak out? It may help a lot. It may be of real help to many. Anyway, since Shakti Prasad Mishra is now pointing to me, no, so I check myself, check my emotion. I can confide it to you. No. The boy is not here. Anyway, but this man, this Swamiji, Balabhadranandaji, is a great speaker, like my dear brother Swami Swamanayandaji. Now, Tyaganandaji is my friend. We stayed together at training center. And one of my best friends. And he made a very pedantic discussion of the four yogas. Synthesis of four yogas. And he did nothing but bringing out the best interpretation of Swamiji's statements. In and through his speeches, through his speech, you might have noted that he was quoting profusely from Swamiji's complete works, or also from inspired talks. Very interesting, no doubt, and I extend my love and best wishes to him. Swami Balabhadranandaji, as usual, he kept us spellbound by some of the ideas he clarified. Very helpful for us, very helpful. I thank Shakti Prasad Mishra for anchoring. I thank where? Krishna Maharaj, Tadbratanandaji. Krishna is here? No. And his team. This seminar is his brain work. Not his brain work as such, but the topics, arrangements, beautiful topics he selected for each of the speakers. Astounding. One thing I must spell out. Swamiji's universal outlook on life and living could be summed up in fourfold way. I am not going to speak out this soul is potentially divine or this universal faith, fourfold universal faith. It's something else. It can sum up everything in Swamiji. First in Bengali. Pratham Sotto. Jiboner ekotto ache. Jagoter ekotto ache. জীবনে একত্ব আছে, জগতে একত্ব আছে। জীবন অনেক আমাদের, we are so many. Life, innumerable life we have, but there is unity behind all such life. Truth. The one truth. Another allied truth is, জগতের পিছনেও ঐক্য আছে। জগতের পিছনেও একত্ব আছে। নাম্বার 2, এই যে একত্ব এর নাম কনসাসনেস, আত্মা, এর অমরত্ব আছে। There is unity in life, there is unity in matter, number 1. Number 2, this unity called consciousness is immortal. Each soul is potentially divine. Each life is potential. All life is divine. You can better say, all life is divine. We can easily drop this potential. All life is divine. Because only by knowing that all life is divine, we can serve them as God. Now, number 3, Satya, truth. It has many layers. Satyer বিভিন্ন স্তর আছে. It is not enough to say that all religions are equally true. All religions are true. But Sri Ramakrishna never said all religions are equally true. All religions are true. Satyer বিভিন্ন স্তর আছে. That's why Swamiji says man travels from truth to truth. Say, better say, from lower truth to higher truth. From truth in the body, from truth in the mind, from truth in intellect, from truth in self. And fourth, the most important, এই একত্বের উদ্বোধনে, এই এত বলা হলো সব একত্ব সর্বত্রই, যে বিভিন্নতা দেখে সে ঠিক দেখে না, যে একত্ব দেখে সেই ঠিক দেখে। Behind this unity, no, it is very, very, very important. The fourth discovery is very important. একত্বের উদ্বোধনে কর্মের প্রয়োজনীয়তা আছে। We need to undertake karma Excuse me, Shankaracharya Swami is present over here. They might have some aversion towards karma. But Swamiji says, unless you have pure mind coming out of, as a result of your undertaking of pure activities, pure work, you have no access to any of the yogas, that we come across. Then বলছেন একত্বের উদ্বোধনে, এই ডিভিনিটির উদ্বোধনে কর্মের প্রয়োজন আছে, and that's why we have to do karma, earn money, but that karma, that profession, that occupation has to be made pure. You have to earn money through fair chance and spend it at yogya. Yoggashishta sano, yoggashishta sino santo muccante sarvakillisoi bhunjate tetu aghang papa je pachanti atmakaranat. Those who cook for themselves, they eat sin, পাপ অন্ন ভোজন করে। কাউকে দিয়ে তারপরে যেটা থাকবে সেটাই হচ্ছে যজ্ঞাশিষ্ট, সেটা কি খেতে হবে। দ্যাট ইউ হ্যাভ টু ইট, দ্যাট ইজ গ্রেট কনসেপ্ট যজ্ঞ। ইউ হ্যাভ টু আর্ন থ্রু ফেয়ার মিনস দ্যাট উই সামটাইমস ওভারলুক। Very, very practical. All yogas are present before us, but we have to qualify ourselves for that. সুতরাং আমরা স্বামীজিকে পড়ব, we have to read Swamiji thoroughly. Every time we will discover some new truths coming out of that reading. That is the beauty of Swamiji. So we cannot feel elated that yes, we have read Swamiji's complete works 5 times, 10 times, 12 times. You read another time and find out what is what. The same thing will appear before you in a different form. With these few words, I declare that our seminar is closed, is over. Huh? Huh? জীবনের একত্ব আছে আর জগতে ঐক্য আছে, একত্ব আছে। সেই একত্বের নাম কনসাসনেস, এবং এই আত্মা বা কনসাসনেস অমর, আত্মার অমরত্ব আছে, জীবনে একত্ব আছে। জীবনে একত্ব আছে বললে হবে না, মানে জগতেও একত্ব আছে, ম্যাটারে একত্ব আছে। এবং এই সত্য, এই একত্বে বিভিন্ন স্তর আছে, লোয়ার ট্রুথ আছে, হায়ার ট্রুথ আছে, হাইয়েস্ট ট্রুথ আছে। এবং এই একত্বের উদ্বোধনে কর্মের প্রয়োজন আছে। কর্মের প্রয়োজন আমাদের তো নেই, ছিলই না। কর্মের প্রয়োজন আমাদের ছিল না। সন্ন্যাস যারা, তাদের কর্মের প্রয়োজন ছিল না, তাদের কর্ম শেষ হয়ে গেছে বলে হিমালয়ে গিয়ে ধ্যান করতেন। Swamiji made it universal. Even those who are living in the world, in the vortex of the world, they will have to have their spiritual life. They can start from karma, শুদ্ধ কর্ম। আমরা তো পড়েছি কথামৃতে, শুদ্ধ মন, শুদ্ধ বুদ্ধি, শুদ্ধ আত্মা এক। শুদ্ধ মনটা কোত্থেকে আসবে সেটাই তো বলা হলো না। শুদ্ধ মনটা আসবে শুদ্ধ কর্ম থেকে। সম্যক আজীব, বুদ্ধদেবের কথা। আজীব মানে হচ্ছে জীবিকা। জীবিকাটা এই জন্যই তো ঠাকুর এইখানে ডাক্তার কেউ ডাক্তার আছেন নাকি? ডাক্তারবাবু আছেন কেউ? ডাক্তার আর উকিলের অন্য খেতে পারতেন না, এই জন্যই। Their জীবিকা, livelihood was not made pure. That's it. Thank you.